Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Gracious good morning to you, good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. This is part two of Even Unto Death. Um, and I'm going to quote one of my favorite radicals. He was labeled a radical because he spoke truth to power and power to truth. Amen. And he was labeled a radical by a staunch racist, J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar had a strong distaste for African American folks, black folks, and made no bones about it. So a lot of folks were labeled and targeted, and I want to say the birth of black ops began. You ever wonder where the name black ops comes from? It gives me a whole new appreciation for some things. But what's done in the dark comes to light, folks. I need to say that. The person I'm going to quote a lot in this video is Stokely Carmichael. Now, Stokely Carmichael started off with King, with SNCC, and at some point figured out that, the passive resistance to nonviolence was not something that worked for him. Now, I believe in King's philosophy, and I know that a lot of that was derived from Gandhi and his resistance against the British. But what folks need to know is Gandhi was also racist. Made some comments about Africa and Africans. So, when you are colonized, and the worst place to be colonized is in your mind, it creates a path of struggle, a life of hardship, because, your heart and mind are saying kinship, but the physical situation is saying survive. So you become at odds, or, with yourself, a person torn, dichotomous, if you will. Yeah, I'm speaking this because we're getting ready to have our Black History celebration. And Black history is American history, folks. But ours is a little different. Let's be real about what's taking place. Okay. Now, these are some strong Stokely quotes that are going to set you back on your heels. It says, this country is a nation of thieves. Where's that come from? It stole everything it has, beginning with black people. The U.S. cannot justify its existence as the policeman of the world any longer. I do not want to be a part of the American pie. The American pie means raping South Africa, beating Vietnam, beating South America, raping the Philippines, raping every country you've been in. I don't want any of your blood money. I don't want to be a part of that system. We must question whether or not we want this country to continue being the wealthiest country. Continue to be the wealthiest country in the world at the price of raping everybody else. Do we want to continue our greed grab, in other words? And then in another instance, he says, reorientation means an emphasis on the dignity of man, not the sanctity of property. It means the creation of a society where human misery and poverty are repugnant to that society, not an indication of laziness or a lack of initiative. The creation of new values means the establishment of a society based on free people, not free enterprise. Does this sound like the battle cry of today? You know, we've even changed our theology. First, you know, theology, for the most part, has been white Christian nationalism. There's always been an undercurrent of that. Now it's just in your face. And I say it's always been an undercurrent of that because, you know, I grew up in the 60s, 70s. And if you think about, you know, we had the fans that the church mothers used to use, and those fans were usually an insurance company, sponsored by an insurance company. It was on the back, you know, during the time of like race riots and property damage and death. You know, that sent the message in and of itself. You know, your communities are violent, but here, we're going to advertise in your church. And then those fans usually had a picture of the Kennedys and Dr. King, or a blonde, blue-eyed Jesus. That part. So, subtle messages all throughout. Now, the last quote by Stokely: what a liberal really wants is to bring about change. Yeah, I'm sure they truly desire a change. Talk about brotherhood, talk about peace, talking about unity, as long as their position is not endangered. Because the minute you get real with a liberal, you get the salty tears, or you get the hostility, because their privilege is threatened. I know I'm talking to somebody. So that being said, I want you to look at the presence and how it was presented in churches. I want you to look at the presence and how it's presented to, you know, your peer group. I just want you to look at your presence. I know I'm forced to look at mine daily. First and foremost, by God, is my heart right? You know, just asking that question should open you up to having difficult conversations. You know, not in a way that, you know, is menacing or threatening, in that you truly want to know. And then posing the question to yourself: what am I willing to do to get this? Yeah, I'm deadly serious today. Ask yourself those questions.